praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. John 5:39.
John 5:39. I just attacked again.
Hey, little buddy.
Little buddy.
Where you going, little buddy?
Little buddy.
Little buddy, he ran away.
Little buddy.
Hello, Tabby.
Tabby.
Bye-bye, Tabby.
Bye-bye, Tabby.
John 5:39 says, Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I received not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe, which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accuse you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? So, we're talking about Jerusalem. As we talked about a little bit of joy and gladness. We were discussing a few things on Wednesday, and now we shall continue. Let's take ourselves back to Leviticus 26. Hey, don't come in. Hey, noise, stop. First and foremost, get on from out of them. You and Tabby. You and Tabby. Come here, Tabby. Bye-bye, Tabby. So let's take ourselves to Leviticus, the 26th chapter, 17th verse, I should say. Leviticus 26. Little stanks. Yes, you little stanks. It used to be little stanks. Now you big stanks. Yes, big stanks. 26 and 17. And I will set my face against you, and you shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you, and you shall flee when none pursue you. So he said, those that hate you are going to rule over you. So let's look at something, right? I got a lot of stuff cycling through my head for this particular topic. Let's take ourselves to the 21st chapter of Luke. Matter of fact, before we look at those that hate you will reign over you because of your sin. So we could look at this in many different aspects, but I'm going to just keep it on the literal side. Let's go to, you little Bonton baby. Man, Abigail, you made me forget where I was going. Tabbing. Leave that alone. Psalms 83 was where I was going. Sit still, tapping. Leave that alone. Don't you touch it. Tabby. You can get down, Tabby. You can get down. That's what you can do. Psalms 83 and 1. Keep not thy silence, O Elohim. Hold not thy shalom. Be not still, O Elohim. For lo, thy enemies make atonement, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasharal may be no more in remembrance. Go see your mommy. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom. I want y'all to remember all of this. Tabernacles of Edom and of Ishmaelites and Moab and Hagarenes. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something right now. We're not looking at this as, oh, they don't want us to know we Israel. Because it's not just on, see, pause. I'm gonna show you when we looking at they don't want to make your name be in remembrance. Let's look at what that could mean. Exodus chapter 17. See, we're gonna look at that, right? We're gonna look at that, man. Exodus chapter 17. Pick it up at verse 10. Exodus 17 and 10. Because that's every Israelite go-to thing, right? They don't want us to know we Israel. They trying to hide it from us. See, they don't want us to be no more in remembrance. Well, let's look at what it means. Hold on, because Tabby would like to put her cap on. Do you have your cap on, Tabby? So you just gonna walk all over my notebook on Tabby. Very well then. Can I have those, please? May I have the other one, please? Thank you very much, Abigail. Use a baby. Use a cute baby. And so Yahushua did as Moses had said to him and fought with Amalek. And Moses and Aaron and Hur went up to the top of the hill. It came to pass when Moses held up his hand that Yasharal prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him. He sat thereon, and Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on the one side and the other on the other side, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. Yahushua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. Yahuwah said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it into the ears of Yahushua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under Shamahim. So when we look at not making your name making your name not to be a remembrance, they're trying to get rid of you. They're trying to eliminate you. Not just not that you don't know you an Israelite. They're trying to exterminate you, to cause your name to make you extinct. So when you sit back and you read in Exodus, they tried to kill all the male sons. You read in Matthew that they were doing the same. We put ourselves in this day and time, and you see all the plots, plans, and schemes and devices that these people use to eliminate black people to make them extinct. This is what it's dealing with on making your name not to be remembered because they're trying to exterminate you. Let's look at Deuteronomy 32 when it comes to this. Keep your hand on Psalms 83. We're in Leviticus 26. Deuteronomy 32. 32 and 24. Listen to what the things this man would do. Make it 34 and 20. Make it 18. We read the whole play. He say of the rock that make it 17 or 16 actually. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods and with the abominations. They provoked him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils and not to Elohim, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. So let's pause. Let's go look at something in 1 Corinthians chapter 11. He say you sacrificing the devils and the new gods whom your fathers didn't know. So then this make us sit back and look at something. Because we were talking about something last on Wednesday about your father, the devil, the lust of your father you will do, and the rebellion and things of that nature. Because you look at sacrifices relinquishing something. And we make sacrifices for the devil. We sacrifice righteousness and the just things and the things that are correct in the eyesight of Yah to the devil. See, your forefathers were sacrificing the devils with literal sacrifices, but they were given something of their substance to someone else. And we give our substance, which is our life, which is our souls, to the devil. And for what? For pleasure. For pleasure. And we can't live like that. Can't live like that. Make that Second Corinthians chapter 11, man. Second Corinthians chapter 11. I gotta make sure that what I want. That ain't what I want. Gotta might go back to that First Corinthians. It's in my head, but the location escapes me at this very moment. I know what I want. I could tell it to you word for word. But the location escapes me at the present time. So let me see. Boom. It was chapter 10 and not chapter 11. And 10 was beating in my brain. 10 and 18. First Corinthians 10. He say, Behold, Yasharal, after the flesh, are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar? What say I then, that the idol is anything, or that which is offered in sacrifice to idols anything? But I say that the things with the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to Elohim. And I would not that you should have fellowship with devils. You cannot drink the cup of Yahuwah and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of Yahuwah's table and the table of devils. Do we provoke the Yahuwah to jealousy? Are we stronger than he? Now, come back on over here, right? Because that's what you're looking at in Deuteronomy 32. They provoking him to anger because they sacrificing the devils. You cannot, because if you are a partaker of an altar, you have fellowship with that altar. So who are you a partaker with? Because you can't be, he told you can't serve two masters because you're gonna love one and despise the other. You have to make a choice. You can't sit down at Yahuwah's table and play with devils and think that that's acceptable because it is not. Deuteronomy 32 and 18, because this is what ends up happening when you do this. Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful, and thou hast forgotten Elohim that formed thee. That's what happens. You forget your God. You forget your God. And when Yahuwah saw it and he abhorred them. He hated you for it. And because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters, and he said, I will hide my, sit down. He said, I will hide my face from them, and I will see what their end shall be, for they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith. Hey, what did I just say, sir? What did I just say? Did I just ask you to sit upon your posterior?
On the floor.
Okay. Place your bottom upon that floor. Thank you, sir. Abigail, the dog outside.
I like the picture.
He said, They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not of Elohim, and they provoke me to anger with their vanities. I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people, and I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. For a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn into the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundation of the mountains. I will heap mischiefs upon them. I will spend my arrows upon them. They shall be burnt with anger and devoured with burning heat and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of the serpents of the dust. So this man's telling us how he's going to kill us, how he's going to wipe us out. He said, The sword without and the terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs. And I said, I will scatter them into the nations, and I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Were it not that I fear the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, Our hand is nigh, and Yahuwah have not done all this. See, he sat back and he looked at, if I do this, then the nation is going to sit back and say they did it by their own power, and that Yah didn't do this. But he tells you in verse 30, of which we haven't read, that how could one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except Yah did it. He said, Yah, their rock is not as our rock, and our enemies are being judges. He said, How can two put 10,000 to flight. And then we sit back and we look at the stories of what happened to our ancestors and even see what's happening now. That one white man, just a handful of white men, a handful of Portuguese, a handful of Arabs, put tens of thousands of people to flight because he sold us into their hands, because we sold ourselves, because our iniquities, say your iniquities, you sold yourself. You sold yourself for not. You'll sit back and look at it. You sell yourself to death for no reason. You didn't have a reason to sin. Go. You did this to yourself. You did this to yourself. We have to sit back and look at that and understand that and take accountability for the choice that we made. Yes, Pablo. Very good, Abigail. Let's go to what was we at before that? Let's go over here to Jeremiah 33. We holding Psalms 83. That's what we hold. Jeremiah 33, verse 20. Break it, verse 19. Back up. And the word of Yahuwah came unto Jeremiah, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah, if you can break my covenant of the day, and my covenant of the night, that there should not be day and night in their season, then may also my covenant be broken with David my servant, that he should not have a son to reign upon his throne, and with the Levites, the priests, my ministers. As the host of Shamahim cannot be numbered, neither can the sand of the sea measured, so I multiply the seed of David my servant, and the Levites that minister unto me. Moreover, the word of Yahuwah came to Jeremiah, saying, Consider thou not what this people have spoken, saying, The two families which Yahuwah have chosen, he have even cast them off. Thus they have despised my people, that they should be no more a nation before them. Thus saith Yahuwah, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinances of Shamahim and the rats, then I will cast away the seed of Jacob and David my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed to be ruler over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For I will cause their captivity to return and have mercy on them. So again, as we're going back to Psalms 83, and it says that they're going to cause you to cease from remembrance. So causing you to cease from remembrance carries two connotations. One of those connotations is that they can kill you utterly and destroy you and wipe you off the face of the map. The other one is causing us to never be able to return to the land, never being Yah's people again. See, it's not about you not knowing you an Israelite. It's about trying to stop you from ever becoming a part of that covenant again, because they were looking at, he cast him out the land, so he done with him. It's to cause you to remember what Moses said to Yah when Yah said, I'm going to wipe them all out. He said, if you do this, they're going to say he wasn't able to bring the people in the land. He wasn't able to build them. He wasn't able to plant them. Because that's how the nation, you got to remember, these are carnal men. So they're not going to look at it from the aspect of the plan of Yahuwah and what he going to execute to bring his people back. That's why, because you got to remember, the people who making this statement talking about he won't be a nation, that's got to be the Babylonians and the Egyptians and the Philistines and the people around Jerusalem at that time. They sinning, and Yah is bringing all manner of evil upon them. We read about some of that in 2 Chronicles 36 on Wednesday, that he was sending the prophets to have compassion. Remember, we read about Zechariah. He rebelled against Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. He didn't want to obey him. So these people were looking at it as they say, aha, this is the opportunity we look for. This is what the scripts say, that the nations would say. This is the opportunity we look for. That now he's going to scatter them, we can kill them, and we can overtake them and destroy them. You got to remember what we were reading in Exodus, and we didn't go over the whole story. Amalek coming up from behind to smite the weakest so they could kill. So they want to eliminate you. It's just not about you not knowing you an Israelite. It's to eliminate you. It's to so that you they looking at it as Yah has turned his face from you. He's no longer with you. We could pause. Zechariah chapter 11. I didn't want you to know, man. But see, we ain't focusing on no identity, so to speak. We talking about Jerusalem and what can get us back there. Because he said, I got to scatter you in all the nations. So Jerusalem, and we're going to read Leviticus 26. Jerusalem is desolate. It's desolate. You got to understand something. That land desolate long as you ain't there. Zechariah 11, verse 4. Say, thus saith Yahuwah my Elohim, feed the flock of the slaughter. Who possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, Baruch be Yahuwah, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. For I will no more pity the inhabitants of the land, saith Yahuwah, but I will deliver the man, every one into his neighbor's hand, into the hand of his king, and they shall smite the land, and out of their hand I will not deliver them. It said these people kill you and hold themselves not guilty. They said we ain't done nothing wrong. They feel like they ain't done nothing wrong because your God is not with you. That's why they don't feel like they done did anything wrong. Because he said the wicked are his sword. So they feel like if they allow them to overtake them, their God has departed from them. They must be evil. You don't think these people heard about the righteousness of Yahuwah? Y'all know what it say about Rahab and the people heard what was going on. He said in Deuteronomy 4 that the nations will hear that you have a law so great, a wise and understanding people whose Elohim is so near. And now all this calamity is befalling you? Remember, he said, and we just read it in Deuteronomy, their rock is not like your rock. They know it. Psalms 83. Psalms 83 and 5. And we're going to look at this in a twofold way now. We'll read verse 4 again. They said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasharal may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Let's see who. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes and Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assorus also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Selah. Pause. Think. Consider. Weigh. All of these people are together, but I want y'all to pay attention. I want you to pay attention because it ain't just as simple as they don't want you to know that you Israelites. It's a little further than that. Listen what he tell you. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, destroy them, as to Sisera and to Jabin at the brook of Kison. Y'all don't want to know. Y'all want to know what happened to Jabin? Let's look and see what happened to Jabin. Judges 5 for those who don't know what happened. We know what happened to the Midianite. He slung him. We talked about that not too long ago. He got the Midianites out of here. Judges 5, make it verse 15. Do I want Judges? No, man. Yeah. Judges. Make it Judges 5, man. We gotta get straight to the point. Well, there's a lot of other stuff in here that I gotta kind of work, right? You know, and I think of stuff in chapter 4 too. Let's do it because it's all gonna tell the same story. Just walk with me. Just deal with me for a second. Look at verse 11, right? It says Judges 5 and 11. We'll move around a little bit. They that are delivered from the noise of the altars, Abigail, no. You all right. They that are delivered from the noise of the altars and the places of the drawing water, they shall rehearse the righteous acts of Yahuwah. even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of the village of Yasharal. Then shall the people of Yahuwah go down to the gates. Awake, awake, Deborah. Awake, awake, utter the song. Arise, Barak, and lead thy captivity captive, thy son of Abinom. Lead captivity captive. Then he made him that remained have dominion over the nobles among the people. Yahuwah made me have dominion over the mighty. Out of Ephraim there was a root of them against Amalek. After thee, Benjamin among the people out of Mashur came down the governors. Out of Zebulun, they that handled the pen and the writer. So let's drop on down, right? So we can get to the point. Verse 20. He said, they fought from Shamahim, the stars in their course, fought against Sisera. So it's telling you how they fought from Shamahim, the stars in their course. You know, the stars are pointing to the sons of Elohim. Now, of course, we got to kick it up. Sisera was a king. If any of you know, the woman Jael told him to come into a tent. He asked for some water. She gave him milk and brought him butter in a lordly dish, and then took a nail and drilled it in his forehead, killed him dead. But the thing that we want to focus on is it said the stars came out to fight against Sisera. The sons of Elohim came to fight against Sisera. Come on back over here. Just keep that in your mind, right? Come on back over here, right? To Psalms 83. In that verse 9, it say, do unto them as Midian and as to Sisera as to Jabon at the brook of Kison. So it's asking for an enemy who gathered up people to fight against Yasharal to be taken out. This is what the writer of the Psalms is asking should happen to the nations. The same thing that happened to Jael, happened to Sisera at the hands of Jael. Let that happen. Remember, it said the course of Shamahim fought against him, or the stars. The sons of Elohim came to fight against Sisera from Shamahim. Come on back to Psalm 83. Just follow me now. We in verse 10. Say, which perished at Endor, they became as dung of the earth. Make their nobles like Orab and like Zeb, and all their princes as Zebah and Zalmunna. So we need to look at that. Let's go to Judges chapter 7. Abigail. Abigail. Judges chapter 7. Let's see what we'll look at on this one here, man. Judges 7, verse 22. And Yahuwah said unto him, I said verse 22, make it verse 24. Then Gideon built an altar there unto Yahuwah and called it Yahuwah Shalom. And unto this day it is yet in Orpah of the Abizarites. And it came to pass the same night that Yahuwah said unto him, take thy Abba's young bullock, even a second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father have, and cut down the grove that is by it. And build an altar unto Yahuwah the Elohim to the top of this rock, and order the place, and take the second bullock, and offer a burnt sacrifice with the wood of the grove, which thou shalt cut down. Then Gideon took 10 men of his servants, and did as Yahuwah had said unto him. And so it was, because he feared his father's household and the men of the city, that he could not do it by day, that he did it by night. So now he's sitting back telling you, cut down to Gideon, because Gideon's the one who went to war with all these people. And I was in chapter 6, so forgive me for that. I was in the wrong chapter, but pray the Lamb. It worked out well anyway. Let's go to where we supposed to have been at, which was 7:21. Pray the Lamb. I read the wrong chapter. My bad if anybody was like, what is this nigga talking about? But it still worked out. Because Gideon is coming to make war. He was a judge. He's coming to make war with these people to toss down their altar, and he's going to make war with them at nighttime. Walk with me. Where we at? We 20. We good. We working good. Judges 7. Make it Judges 7:19. Pray the Lamb. Make it 7:18. When I blow with the trumpet, I and all that are with me, then blow ye the trumpets also on every side of all the camp, and say, the sword of Yahuwah and of Gideon. I want you to keep this in mind of everything we torn together. Psalm 83, you see the writer of Psalms asking for the nations, to everything that happened to these people in the past, to happen to them for plotting. Sisera, we didn't go through it. Sisera was plotting to destroy Yasharal. He ended up getting a nail in his forehead. This is who Barak rose up to go fight. Now we see who Gideon is rising to go to fight, and here's the Midianites that you're referring, that we read to beforehand. So we bringing them in, And now we seeing what's happening to them. Blow a trumpet, swore to Yahuwah and a Gideon. This was being asked. This was being asked because these people want to wipe you out. See, like I said, it's not stopping you from if a nigga come tell you that these scripts is talking about they don't want you to know that you an Israelite. That is an unlearned man, and that's an unskilled scribe trying to teach you. That's just what it is. We're just calling it like it is. That's a man who is not increased in his understanding to fully understand what the book is trying to convey. Because if you haven't caught on, you will catch on to what this is actually pointing us to. I think the wisest ones amongst you, and I think all of you are pretty wise, have probably already caught on to where we're headed. So Gideon and 100 men that were with him came unto the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle of the watch. And they had built newly set the watch, and they blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers that were in their hand. Remember, he said in the beginning of the middle of the watch. Pause. Now we're going to give you a good inkling of which I know y'all already know what this is talking about. Come over here to Mark chapter 13. He said in the middle of the watch. This is why you always got to have yourself prepared. See, these people weren't prepared, so they were sleeping. See, don't none of y'all need to be sleeping. Because now we just going to put it out there and we just going to put the scripts together to line it up. This is talking about the coming of the Lord and the wrath that's going to come upon the nations because all of the nations have made a confederacy to gather themselves together to make war with the Lamb. You got to be able to see that this is what this point is to. It ain't about you. These people want to kill you. These people don't never want you to claim back your inheritance. Your inheritance being your Elohim. The land is not just your inheritance. Your Elohim is your inheritance. That's your inheritance. If you say we a priestly nation, well, he say the Levites were his inheritance. They said they didn't have no inheritance. He said they were their inheritance. Why were they inheritance? Because he said I redeemed the Levites instead of the firstborn because they all mine. And if you born again, then you born of Yahushua, which make you a firstborn, which means you his. So Yahuwah is your inheritance. And they trying to stop you from attaining that, to keep you from eating at the table of devils. They don't never want you to separate from that table and eat at Yahuwah's table. They don't want you to do that. As long as I can keep you from being a nation or being a people before Elohim, being a people who serve Elohim, and if I can kill you, then I feel like I've obtained my job because they feel like Yah's not with you. That's why they can slay you. And they feel like we ain't did nothing wrong because you evil. It said in Ezekiel, a third part for the sword. If you don't think these people know this stuff is in this text and they rationalize this in their wicked minds and the stuff that they do, you're deceiving yourself. They don't want you to become sons and daughters of Elohim. That's what they don't want you to do. Mark chapter 13. 13:32. But of that day and that hour no man know, not the Malachim which in Shamahim, neither the Son, but Abba. Take ye heed and watch and pray, for you know not when the time is. For the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey who left his house and gave authority to his servants, and to every man his work, and commanded the porter to watch. Watch ye therefore, for you know not when the master of the house come, at even, or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning. Those are different watches. That's why we read that. It's different watches. Even thing like he said in Luke 12. Baruch does he that first watch, second watch, third watch. You know what I'm saying? Lest coming suddenly he finds you sleeping, and what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. Come on back over here to Judges, right? He said, what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. Remember, he said he come at nighttime. He come at nighttime. At nighttime. You know what you're doing at nighttime? You sleeping. They sleeping. They sleeping. 7 and 19, we read that. Let's read it again. So Gideon and the 100 men that were with him came into the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch. And they had but the newly set the watch, and they blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers that were in their hands. And the three companies blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers and held the lamps in their left hands, and the trumpets in their right hands to blow withal. And they cried the sword of Yahuwah and of Gideon. And they stood every man in his place around about the camp, and all the host ran and cried and fled. And the 300 blew the trumpets, and Yahuwah said every man swore against his fellow, even throughout the host. The host fled through Beth Shittah and Zarath, and to the border of Abel Meloha unto Tabath. And the men of Yasharal gathered themselves together out of Naphtali, out of Asher, out of Manasseh, and pursued after the Midianites. Gideon sent messengers throughout all Mount Ephraim, saying, come down against the Midianites, and take before them the waters under Beth Barah and Jordan, Then all the men of Ephraim gathered themselves together and took the waters under Beth Barah and Jordan. And they took two princes of the Midianites, Orab and Zeb, and they slew Orab upon the rock of Orab, and they slew and Zeb they slew at the winepress of Zeb, and pursued Midian, and brought the heads of Orab and Zeb to Gideon on the other side of Jordan. See, they ran the people down and they killed them. These were people who were causing the people to worship Baal. They idolaters who were oppressing the people, and it's ironic, blow a trumpet and say the sword of Yahuwah. Let's go ahead and get it early then. Revelation 11, let's just go ahead and get it early then. Instead of just waiting to do it at the end, we just weave it in and out. Make sure you understand it clearly. Praise Yah for the word. You need to know what's going to go down when it go down at the last play. Because Jerusalem desolate. So because it's desolate, because of what? Because you sinned. The nations didn't make it desolate. Like I heard a dude today say, the white man the one gave you marijuana and told you was a herb. Niggas been smoking weed. Stupid nigga don't even know the Egyptians were smoking weed. They the ones named it cannabis. It'd be funny to me that niggas say anything evil, we got it from white people. When black people been doing it. You can't say that black people the first people on earth and then didn't learn no wickedness till they met a white man. Do you know how asinine that sounds? You know how stupid you got to be to tell somebody that? You know how stupid you got to be to believe it? I've heard dudes say we didn't learn homosexuality until we met a white man. Niggas been punks. You ain't need to meet no white man to learn to be no punk. You didn't meet no white man to learn. But again, these dudes say that the devil the white man was the serpent in the garden. But then say the white man didn't come till Esau. So which one is it? And the worst part is people believe it. But like I told the brother, I told Will that, man, it's real talk. We've been said this here before. You have some Hebrews that come out the Christian church and they have the Christian mind frame. So they like to go to them because the way that they speak and the mannerisms and the things that they say, those people who come from that, who they trying to convert to be a quote unquote Hebrew, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because you should be converting somebody to be a son of Elohim and not an Israelite. You can't convert to be an Israelite. You either are an Israelite or you're not. But everyone is not a son or daughter of Elohim. That's what you ought to be converting people to. That's how stupid we are. You know what I'm saying? But they feel like that they could gain people from that. One West people, they like to go to the hood. They know that these people are angry. That these people are upset, and understandably so. And they come at them with a way of, Yah is mad with your enemies, and this is what he's going to do, and this, that, then, and the third. And that's how they win these people. Because they know most of the people in the hood, not to say that they dumb, but they don't have a high education level. So you know if you come at them with certain information and you frame this in a particular way, they're more than likely going to purchase it. Yeah, I mean, we ain't getting on that where they come from. You know what I'm saying? That's neither here nor there. But we know where the people they gonna purchase that. Because you see, I want you to understand is you got to put yourself in these people's shoes. Some of y'all come from these neighborhoods, so you know they angry because the people they see oppressing them and killing them. The people who oppressing them and killing them, they white. Do you know what I'm saying? So they see that, and then you telling them this the devil who the Bible speaks of, and God hates them, and he gonna do this here and do that there. They gonna gravitate to that. Then you give them structure and discipline, and they gonna purchase that teaching. You know what I'm saying? They gonna purchase that. You come to Christian people, and you come at them with a certain mentality and a certain wordplay, and they gonna purchase that. And then you have those in the middle who just strictly preach the word of Yahuwah, and they not going to be accepted by either. And in the middle is where you want to be. You want to be accepted by, I'm a companion of all those who fear thee. That's what you want to be accepted with. And we got the culture people off in the cut, but that's another conversation. But it's all somebody appealing to the sensibilities of what a person feels like somebody who should bring the word, should look or act, versus let's get to Yahuwah. Let's get to Yahushua who can get us to Yahuwah. See, we don't want to see that. And that's what your enemy want. Your enemy wants you arguing about this and arguing about that because the whole time you're not seeking your God. You're not seeking your God. That's what they don't want you to do. because that way you can never be in covenant with him. That's it, period. And your enemies just ain't white. Your enemies is anybody who hates Elohim. He said a man's enemies will be they of his own household. So your first enemies look just like you. Your first enemies say your God is their God. Your Savior is their Savior. Them your first enemies. You can't go outside. Don't be no fool. Don't be going outside looking around the corner for your enemies when your enemy's sitting right next to you. See, that's the trick of the enemy itself, is he got you looking left when you need to be looking right because your enemy's sitting right next to you. So the whole time you ain't gonna see the dagger that he's gonna place in your back because you was looking over here when you should have been looking at him. That's why a lot of brews don't like to deal with no sin and things of accountability and transformation of mind, heart, and soul. You know what I'm saying? Revelation chapter 11. We'll go ahead with verse 15. The seven Malachim sounded, and there was great voices in Shamahim. The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of Yahuwah and of his Amashiach. He shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before Elohim on their seats fell upon their faces and worshiped Elohim, saying, We give thanks, O Yahuwah Elohim Almighty, which art and was and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come. And the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou should give reward unto the servants, the prophets, and to the Kased, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth. Because now it's time. Yahuwah is about to reward his people, but that trumpet is blown. And we're going to get to it, because when that trumpet blown, it's wartime. It's wartime. Y'all know about them seven trumpets. You should know it. Huh? You remember the book of Yahushua, son of Nun? They blew that trumpet 7 times. The walls of Jericho fell, and they overtake Jericho and destroyed it. Nevertheless, back to Judges, chapter 8. Let's pick ourselves up. What, probably about verse 20? Because y'all need to know that. And the reason why we're looking at this in Psalms 83 are the people that they mention. Because if you don't know who he's talking about, then we have to look at it so you do know. Make it verse 12. Or make it verse 10. You need to know. So we're going to look at Zeba and Zalumina, and who he said, let the enemies be like them. Let's destroy their altars, and let's kill them. We're going to get to it. You see, Sisera, stars of Shamahim, came out to fight against you, and a woman took a nail and drove it through your forehead. Because you asked for some water, I gave you some milk. That's why he say, if your enemies ask for something to drink, give them something to drink. In doing so, you heaping coals of fire upon their head. Do good to them. Y'all gonna crash them. Because these niggas wicked. These niggas know they wicked. These niggas go to sleep every night knowing they're a first-class hypocrite. They know it. I don't know how a nigga can sit and rest knowing that he live a life contrary to the life that he proclaims. I don't care what it is. Streets, word, family. You know what I'm saying? All that. Just going to sleep every night knowing you a liar. You know what I'm saying? I can't live like that. Nigga going to sleep, women going to sleep, knowing they homosexual, adulterers and all that. I couldn't live like that. Pretending to be somebody you not. Just live your truth, baby. Do you? Because I'm telling y'all this right now, right? If you do something and you don't want nobody to know you doing it, you ashamed. And if you ashamed of what you doing, then why you doing it? If you want to sleep with a whole cavalcade of women, go and knock them down. What you ashamed for? What you hiding for? That's too much work. That's too much energy. If you're going to be wicked, just be wicked. Don't act like you love y'all and serve y'all. Just be wicked. That's too much energy to pretend. I couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? That's no word or no word. That's too much work to pretend to be something you're not. I am who I am. You can like it, love it, or leave it. You know what I'm saying? And everybody should live your life like that, man. This is what you do. This is who you are. This is what you about. Then live like that. But if you want to pretend to be one way in front of another group of people and go around another group of people and then you another way, how you live your life like that? How do you have so much energy to put on a mask like that? That's too much work. It's hard enough just being alive, much less doing all of that. Nevertheless, now Zebah and Zalmunna, this is Judges 8 and 10, were in Karkor, and the host with them, about 15,000 men. All that were left of the host of the children of the east, for there fell 120,000 men that drew sword. Gideon went up by the way of them that dwelt in the tents of the east of Nobah and Jogabah, and smote the host, for the host was secure. When Zebah and Zalmunna fled, he pursued after them, and he took the two kings of Midian, Zebah and Zalmunna, and discomfited all the host. Gideon, the son of Joash, returned from battle before the sun was up, and called a young man of the men of Succoth, and inquired him, and described unto him the princes of Succoth, and the elders thereof, and even 17 men. And he came unto all the men of Succoth, and said, Behold, Zebah and Zalmunna, whom ye did upbraid me, saying, are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna now in thy hand, that we should give bread unto men that are weary. Unto thy men that are weary, he took of the elders of the city the thorns of the wilderness and briars with the men, and with them he taught the men of Sukkoth. Look at what he said. He said he took thorns of the wilderness and briars and taught them. So now we need to pause and we need to look at that. Because Sukkoth dealing with booths, the tabernacles, all that. This is what he say, took thorns and briars and taught them. Pause. 2 Corinthians chapter 12. I'd be remiss if I just calmly skipped over that. Thorns and briars. We'll look at what thorns and briars are. He said with these thorns and briars, he taught them. Pay attention. The word is beautiful. Understanding is beautiful. That's why I told you what I told you last week. Y'all know, boy, ain't no way I turn my back on this here. 12 and 6, 12 and 5, 2 Corinthians 12 and 5. And I ain't never understand it, and now I do. See, I seen something like this here, man. And I've been accused of a lot of things. None of them to my face. Uh, when it comes to my dissemination of information. One thing for certain and two things for sure. I hit you off with this word. I ain't gonna hold nothing from you. I ain't gonna hold nothing from you. Just like Paul stated in Acts chapter 20, I have not held back anything profitable unto you. What I look like hold go. Go. What I look like holding word from you and that's gonna be profitable for you. What I look like doing that. I give you whatever you're looking for, have you, I will empower you because the purpose is for you to be saved. Not for me to be dragging you along, spoon feeding you information. Who got time for that? Who got time for that? That don't. But some people do that. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of times, a lot of people say somebody's doing that because if they had it, that's what they would do. Because I am a firm believer and have get your mouth off of that, and have seen it with my own two eyes. That men would say that you're doing something because that's what they're doing or that's what they would do. When you got the word, it's a lovely thing, man. You give it away for free. You toss it to whoever want it. Ain't nothing to give to you. What I'm holding it for? I can't take it to the grave with me. I got to drop it all of it while I'm here. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, man, verse 5. Go sit down somewhere. Jeez. Go. Of such a one will I esteem, yet of myself I will not esteem, but in my infirmities. For though I would desire to esteem, I shall not be a fool, for I will say the truth. But I now forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he see me to be, or that he hear of me, unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of revelations that were given to me, a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Hashatan, to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the master thrice, that it depart from me. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. For most gladly, therefore, will I rather esteem in my infirmities, that the power of Mashiach may rest upon me. So what did Gideon turn around and teach them with thorns and briars? Let's look at something in Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 6. Get on from over here. Go. I am not a lover of animals, nor am I a lover of you. So I would really prefer that you get from out of my personal space, sir. It's nothing personal. Get your mouth off of that. He was a hard-headed little boy. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 6. Hard-headed little boy. Ain't nothing over there for you. If they shall fall away, to renew them again unto repentance, seeing they crucify to themselves the son of Elohim afresh, and put him to an open shame. For the earth which drink in the rain that come oft upon it, and bring forth herbs meet for them by whom it is dressed, receive blessing from Elohim. But that which bear thorns and briars is rejected, and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. So we see the thorns and briars are those who are disobedient. So with thorns and briars, Gideon sat down and taught them. So we sit back, as it says in the book, that all these things are written for our learning. We see that we can learn the things from the thorns or the briar. We see the thorn was in Paul's side to buffet him, that he might be humbled, that he might be put in a weak state. So we see that there's things that we can learn, as it says in Hebrews 5. You can come back to the Judges 8. As we see in Hebrews 5, right, it says, Mashiach learned obedience from the things that he suffered. So from the thorns and the briars, or from the wicked who are there to buffet you, you can learn humility. From that humility, you can learn obedience. I'm just giving you a brief synopsis on this, because we could go into greater detail on it, but we got to keep it moving to stay on task of what we're dealing with. But you can learn obedience from the thorns and the briars. You can learn obedience from your persecution. You can learn obedience from your sufferings. You can learn obedience from your tribulations. Acts 14:22 tell you that he exhorted them to continue in the faith, because through much tribulation we must enter into the kingdom of Elohim. You can learn to obey from the things that you suffer. That's why Paul say, I would rather esteem in my infirmities that the power of Mashiach rest upon me, because he said my strength was made perfect in weakness, because he put a thorn in my side to buffet me. So you look at all the things that Paul went through, the stoning, the hunger, the nakedness, all of those things was for him to learn to esteem in his Elohim, and let the power of his master, of his savior, of his king rest upon him, that he would never look to himself, but continually look to his God. That is what we're supposed to be learning from these thorns and the briars. If anybody has ever persecuted you and hated you without a cause, has done anything to you for the word's sake and for the word's sake alone, it was for you to learn obedience. It was for you to learn humility, and it was for your perfection. That's why he took you through that, so you could learn to continually look to your God and to no one else. See, we don't want to do that, because see, we want to fight. We want to resist. We don't want that blessing. Judges 8:17. He says, and he beat down the tower of Penuel and slew the men of the city. Then he said unto Zebah and Zalmunna, what manner of men were they whom you slew at Tabor? And they answered, as thou art. So were they, each one resembled the children of a king. So now he done asked them, what type of men did you kill? They said, he looked like you. They were sons of the king. They looked like you. That's who we slew. Pause. Matthew chapter 24. You see this here? They were not sons of you an Israelite. Come on, back. Let me read it to you again. See, we done dealt with this before too. It's always good to see, praise the Lamb. See, praise y'all. It's always good to come back and look at stuff to bring stuff to your remembrance. See, these people not going to kill you because you an Israelite. He said they killed you because you resembled a king. Let's read it again. I want you to hear it now. Then he said unto Zebah and Zalmunna, I want you to keep two, that the thing that you mentioned is two men. So those two men should already be making apparent in your mind who these two men are, who are persecuting the righteous. You should know. If you don't, we're going to read it. Then said he unto Zebah and Zalmunna, what manner of men were they whom you slew at Tabor? And they answered, as thou art, so were they. Each one resembled the children of a king. Let's read verse 19. Then he said, they were my brethren, even the sons of my mother. As you who will live, if you had saved them alive, I would not slay you. And he said unto Jether his firstborn, up. Listen what he said. Unto his firstborn, up and slay them. But the youth drew not his sword, for he feared, because he was yet a youth. Then Zebah and Zalmunna said, rise thou and fall upon us, for as the man is, so is his strength. And Gideon arose and slew Zebah and Zalmunna, and took away the ornaments that were on their camels' necks. So they say, as the man is, so is his strength. Two men get slayed. They said, if you wouldn't have slayed him, I would have let you live. because they were my brethren, even the sons of my mother. They all resemble the king. Let's see this here. Pause. We good in Judges 8. You could keep holding Psalms 83. Come over here to Galatians 4. Let's see who that they were the sons of what mother? They said they were the sons of my mama. You slew them. You slew them. You slew them. Why? Why did you do such a thing? 4 and 21, Galatians. Why would you do such a thing? Oh, foolish man, you are. See, they all resembled the children of a king, and you slew them. And this is what you're talking about. All the nations are confederate. They want to kill the sons and daughters of Elohim. They don't care nothing about you running around here talking about you an Israelite. I promise they don't. Only people who care about it is the people in the churches because they worry about their membership and they worry about some money. That's all they care about. They don't care nothing about you saying you're Israelite. That don't affect the world or anything on a day-by-day basis. But oh, do they fear the sons and daughters of the living Elohim. He said, come out from among them and be ye separate, and I will receive you, and touch not the unclean thing, and you shall be sons and daughters unto me, saith Yahuwah Almighty. That's what he said. That's what he said. He said, you'll eat the new store because of the old, and I set my tabernacle amongst you and walk amongst you, and you shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim. That's what they don't want to happen. They don't want you to receive the Ruach HaKadosh and have power with Elohim. They don't want you to take hold of the heel of your brother. They don't want you to wrestle with a Malachim and overcome him and therefore have power with Elohim. That ain't what they want. You thinking they worry? You think they worry about you saying, I'm a Hebrew. You think they care about that? Why would they care? There's no power in that. You think they care because you saying you an Israelite? I'm awakened to my identity. But you not a son of Elohim, so you still sleep. You ain't got your identity. Because your identity is to become Yahusha. That's your identity. Your identity is in your Elohim. Because if you say your identity is being an Israelite, Jacob was the son of Elohim. Isaac was the son of Elohim. Abraham was the son of Elohim. He told Abraham, walk before me and be thou perfect. These were just and upright men, sons of Elohim in the literal sense. And if we not walking like that, we don't need to be claiming that bloodline because you just a nigga. You not a they stock, not living any kind of way, not a hypocrite, not unbelieving, not doubtful, not unfaithful. You're not a son of a daughter of Elohim with that. Sarah didn't do that. Rebecca didn't do that. Rachel didn't do that. All of them were faithful. Nevertheless, tell me, ye that desire to be under Torah, do you not hear Torah? For it is written that Abraham had two sons, the one by bondmaid, the other by a free woman. But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh, but he of the free woman was by promise. Which things are allegory, for these are two covenants. The one from Mount Sinai, which gendered the bondage, which is Agar. For this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, an answer to Jerusalem, which now is, and is in bondage with her children. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is mother of us all. This the mother of my brethren. They born, remember he said Jerusalem, which is above. So that new Jerusalem, which come down from Shamahim, which means those who are his brethren, the sons of his mother, these are those who are born of Yahushua, you born of the Ruach. He slayed them. Let's look at the next thing he say. For it is written, rejoice thou barren that bear not, break forth and cry thou that travail not. For the desolate have many more children than they which have a husband. Now we brethren, as Isaac was, are children of the promise. But then as he that was born after the flesh persecuted him that was after the Ruach, even so it is now. That's what you sit back when you look at Zebulun and Zamun. They persecuted the children who are the spirit, children of the promise. He say, what bad he said they as you are. They resemble the children of a king. They say they just like you. He said, if you would have let him alive, I wouldn't kill you. But you killed my brethren. And for what? Just two men. Revelation chapter 12. Matter of fact, let's go back to Psalm 83. Let me wipe that out first, right? Let me wipe that out first. Then we'll come back. Let me wipe that out. Praise y'all for the word. Man. You who are good when things are good. You who is good when things are bad. You who are good when the sun shines. You who is good when it rains. Yahuwah good when you're naked. Yahuwah good when you're clothed. He good when you're hungry. He good when you're full. Let the mind for you all remember. And his judgments are just and righteous altogether. And that all those who have breath in their lungs ought to bless and praise his name. Psalm 83, verse 11. Where we at, right? Right, yeah, verse 11. Make their nobles like Orab and like Zeb. Yea, all their princes as Zebah and Zalmunna. Verse 12. Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Elohim in possession. O my Elohim, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burn a wood, and as the flame set the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm, and fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Yahuwah. Let them be confounded and be troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahuwah, art the most high over all the erats. So now he's saying the tempest or the whirlwind, the cloud. Let him catch that. Now let's do this. Revelation 17. We got to work it. We're going to work. We're doing it in a little different order. You got to work it how you got to work it. I wanted to do chronologically, but sometimes you can't go chronologically. Revelation 17. 17 and 10, I suppose. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, one is, the other is not yet come. And when he come, he must continue for a short space. And the beast that was and is and is not, excuse me, even he is the 8th and is of the 7, and go into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou saw are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. They have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is the master of masters, Malak of Malaks. And they that are with him are called, and are chosen, and faithful. Understand that. If you with Yahushua, number 1, you called. But number 2, you're chosen. But number 3, you're faithful. You're faithful. You got to be faithful to Yahuwah. And see, what a lot of times we get messed up at in our service to Yah is we not faithful. See, it's always funny, right? And I hate to use this as an analogy, but I have to use this here, right? A person wants their mate to be faithful, but yet they're not faithful. You want Yah to be faithful. He say he the faithful Elohim now to all those that love him. You want Yah to be faithful to you, but then you're not faithful to him. You're not loyal to him. You're not riding with him through the highs and the lows and the ups and the downs. See, we've been taught to put so much focus on being faithful in a relationship that you forgot to be faithful in a relationship to your Father which dwell in heaven. That's the person you need to be. You're right. Most of us would rather be faithful to our spouse than faithful to our God. What type of sense that make? Your allegiance should be to your God first. That's why he told you if you seek the kingdom first, the things that you desire, he'll give it to you. He'll give it to you. If you desire him, then he will give you things that come from him. But we too dumb to recognize when the things that come from him are right in our face. Because we want our blessings to be how we want them to be. Instead of how Yah gonna give them to you. We talk about it all the time. Somebody blind, they want him to do something magical. He ain't do nothing but spit on their eyes. If he told you to do some great thing, you still wouldn't have believed. Just get your butt in there and wash yourself 7 times in that Jordan River and be happy. You know what I'm saying? Because we had an image, because we looking on the, like he said, man look on the outward appearance and y'all look on the heart. And we more focused. Remember now, the word brings the manifestation of what's in the man's heart. And we more concerned of what we can see on the outside versus seeing if we can see the manifestation that the love of Yah is in a man's heart or in a woman's heart. And then we can be able to discern and see that's Yah. That's him. Because that's when we take the time to be more faithful to Yah versus faithful to our own desires. I don't have anything for you, Pablo. I just don't. Verse 15, right? And he saith unto me, the waters which thou saw where the horse sit are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Elohim hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Elohim should be fulfilled. So now we see how all these nations, they confederate. And we see that all these nations were confederate to give this stuff over to the beast. Because what is the beast going to do? Let's take ourselves to Revelation chapter 12. Let's see what the beast got in his mind to do. We're going to pick it up about verse 13. Make it 12, Revelation 12 and 12. Now remember, they want to be confederate. They want to see some making you a nation. And when we look at making a nation, we go back to Zerab and Zalumina and Judges, we see that they were slaying people who resembled the king. See, this is what I was going to get, and I'm going to just tell it to you now. If that's that Romans 8. Romans 8 tell you that everyone, he said they should be conformed into the image of his son. When you are conformed and you transform, pause. Romans chapter 12 before we read Revelation 12. See, this is what I'm sitting here telling you, right? The book tell you not all of Yasharal is of Yasharal, but those who are of the promise. He said, in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Isaac is the only begotten son of Abraham. The promise is not to gloat in you. When you talk about I'm a Hebrew and you an Israelite, you esteeming in your flesh, esteeming a Mashiach, and you esteeming you a son and daughter of Elohim. And that's when they'll hate you. And that's when they'll persecute you. And that is when they'll kill you. Because he said the world hate me because I testify of it. He said if it hates me, they will hate you. He said, you want to kill me because whom Abba has sanctified, because I say I'm the son of Elohim. He said, ye are gods and sons of the Most High, but you shall die like men and fall like princes. We not sons of Elohim moving how we moving. They don't care about your nationality. They don't want you to be a son, a daughter of Elohim. They don't want you to be children of Shamahim. They don't want you to be sons and daughters of light. That's what they don't want to happen. Because when that happens, the power of Elohim rests upon you and is in you. And who can stop whom Yah has blessed? No one. We don't understand that because we're not being taught to convert and become that. That's when we have power. That's when we have power. Are we going to glory in the flesh or are we going to glory in the Ruach? We going to glory in man or we going to glory in Elohim? Which one we going to choose? Romans 12 and 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Elohim, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, Kadesh, acceptable unto Elohim, which is your reasonable service. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Elohim. So come over here to Revelation 12 and 12, right? So when you're renewed in your mind, you've been born again. Anybody who is in a Mashiach is a new creature. You are no longer a son of Adam. You're a son of Elohim. He's in Galatians chapter 4, he told you that you would get the adoption of sons. And he would send forth the Ruach of his son in your heart that you would cry out, Abba, go. Father, go. You know what I'm saying? Why are we not seeking to become the sons and daughters of Elohim? Because that would take sacrifice. That would take the sufferings of Mashiach, of which we don't want to endure. He said they're enemies of the state. Paul said, I'd rather glory in the stake of Hamashiach than to glory in myself. When the Mashiach was on that tree, who did he esteem? And he esteemed in his Abba the whole time he was suffering. Say, Abba, in thy hand I commend my Ruach. That's what he said. Say, Abba, forgive them. They know not what they do. He said, it's finished. He esteemed in his Elohim. Yahuwah got the esteem when he was on that stake. If you get up there on the stake, Yahuwah get the esteem. But when we around here talking about we Hebrews and we around here talking about we Israelites boasting in our flesh, we getting the esteem. Give the esteem to whom is due. You ain't but dust and ashes who got to stand before the throne and give account for all your deeds which have been done in this body, whether they be good or evil. Give the esteem to whom is due. Ain't no esteem due to you. What have you done but disobey and disbelieve your God? That's all you've done. Until this man made himself known unto you and told you to repent, the kingdom of Shamahim is at hand. Return unto me. You got to give esteem to whom is due. The esteem is due to him. Because he called you out of darkness into the marvelous light of his son. He did that. He chose you to salvation. He said, you have not chosen me, I've chosen you. That's what he said, and appointed you that you should bring forth fruit. You got to give esteem to whom is due. That esteem due to him. That's a shift in mindset. That's the mind of the son of Elohim. Got to shift your mindset. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye Shamahim, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he know that he had but a short time. And when the serpent saw that he was cast out into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child, as we see back in Judges. And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into a place where she is nourished for a time and times and a half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the serpent cast out of his mouth. And the serpent was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Key point: seed, not seeds of many, but seeds of one. That seed of Mashiach. He said, this is the case that the Redeemer will come to Jacob and all those who turn from iniquity unto him, and this is the covenant that I will make with him. The Ruach that is upon you and the words that are in your mouth, I will put it on your seed and your seed from henceforth and forever. See, he going to make war with the sons and daughters of Elohim. Remember, he said that these were the brethren of my mother. They all resembled a children of a king. So he went to make war with the remnant of the woman's seed. He went to make war with the sons and daughters of Elohim. He ain't making war with no Israelite. You could be a Hebrew and not be a son and daughter of Elohim. You could be an Israelite and not be a son and daughter of Elohim. We already know that because Romans 9 tell us that. Everyone that is of Yasharal is not of Yasharal. He said, you are not of my flock, as I told you. My sheep hear thy voice and they follow me. He said, you are not of Elohim. He that hears Elohim's words. You hear them therefore not, because you are not of Elohim. That word is supposed to take hold of you. Because faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word. Those who hear, they will be saved and delivered, because they will believe and repent and be converted. Then that means their sins is blotted out, which means they're the sons and daughters of Yahuwah. We got to understand that. And the serpent was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of a seed which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. Well, if you don't have the testimony of Yahushua, how you his child? 1 John chapter, I don't have that in this book. In 1 John chapter 5, he said we have a greater witness. Oh, I do got that one. Pray the Lamb. 1 John chapter 5, right? 5 and 9. 1 John 5 and 9. I didn't want you to consider, man, and all this here, we just getting to Jerusalem, the plotting, because they don't want that to be rebuilt. They don't want you to return to serve your Elohim, because they hate him. And at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, they hate him. And they can't take out their anger and their wrath on him, so they take it out on his children. Y'all got to understand something. Don't nobody really love anybody who serve Yah for real. If you serve Yah for real, everybody not going to love you. That man, Yahushua said himself, say destruction to you if everybody speak well to you. He said, if everybody love you, that's a problem. That's a problem. Don't be deceived. Everybody didn't love Yahushua. If everybody loved him, how was he able to be killed then? If everybody loved him. We can't be that dumb. That's why when you look at it, when we tell the story, we like to blame it on the nations because we don't want to take the responsibility that we were that faithless, wicked, stiff-necked, and unbelieving that we would kill a man who all he did was love us. Because we don't want to believe that our people are that evil. But we hate what's right. All our people ain't like that, but all our people are not a Yahuwah. And we got too much book for that. Jeroboam wasn't a Yahuwah. Ahab wasn't a Yahuwah. Shall we continue? How many more people we got to name? How is all our people of Yahuwah, but we sitting in here scattered in all these nations in the four corners of the earth talking about how we got scattered? You can't tell somebody we the people of the book because we cursed for disobeying and then not think you wasn't the one who was killing the people who was sent to tell you to stop disobeying. That's when we don't want to be real with ourselves. 1 John 5:9. For if we receive the witness of men, the witness of Elohim is greater. For this is the witness of Elohim which he have testified of his Son. He that believe on the Son of Elohim have witness in himself. He that believed not Elohim have made him a liar, because he believed not the record Elohim gave of his Son. This is the record that Elohim have given to us, eternal life, and this life is in his Son. He that have the Son have life. He that have not the Son of Elohim, he don't have life. He has not life. So if you don't have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach, how can you believe in whom you have not heard? How can you be saved if you've never heard of the man? So how can you sit back and say you the remnant of a seed and you don't even have that testimony? Because if you have that, John chapter 4, if you have that testimony, then you can bear witness you a son of Elohim, which means you've been conformed to his image. And if you've been conformed to his image, then of course you're going to keep his commandments. That's a given. I can't remember the last time I tried to even talk to somebody about keeping commandments or telling them they're an Israelite. I'm going to preach Yahushua to you every time. Every time. I just had a conversation with somebody about that. I ain't say nothing about we was an Israelite. I told them about Yahushua though, and they was like, that was an interesting perspective. I never looked at it like that before. Go to church every Sunday too. They weren't bruised neither, but that's neither here nor there. You gotta hit him off with what's saved. Yahushua is what's saved. That's where the life at. The life ain't in me knowing I'm a Hebrew. Ain't no life in that. Life ain't in me knowing I'm an Israelite. Ain't no life in that. The life ain't in the law. Ain't no life in that. You show that law to me, you just condemn me. What the good news is in that? I don't get no good news from that. You've been fornicating. The penalty for that is death. Well, shoot, nigga, I don't want to hear no more. Shoot, get out my face with that. See, we don't think about stuff like that. John chapter 4. It's John chapter 3, my bad. 3 and 35, that's all I want. After 3 and 35, come to John chapter 5. And then we got to move on. The Father loved the Son and have given all things into his hand. He that believe on the Son have everlasting life. He that believe not on the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of Elohim abide on him. So when we see the wrath falling on the two sets of men in Judges that Gideon slew, they didn't believe. So for the wrath rested on them. So let's go to John 5. And then we go back to the book of Revelation. John 5 and 30. See, in Job 16 and 19, he said, my witness is in Shamahim and my record is on high. So I want y'all to keep that in mind, what you're finna see right here in John chapter 5. My witness is in Shamahim and my record is on high. Remember, because in John 8, they say, you bear record of yourself. He said, though I bear record of myself, it's one who bear witness of me. Because I was slain from the foundation of the world. And if you want to know how his record on high, just look to the stars. That would have tell you in Psalm 19. Say the word of salvation, preached in the skies. Better look up there and see. I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will, but the will of Abba which sent me. If I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. There's another that bear witness of me. And I know that witness which he witnessed of me. Go! Now you want to run here. Go on somewhere and find you somewhere to sit down at. There's another that bear witness of me, and I know that the witness which he witnessed of me is true. You sit under John, and he bear witness unto the truth. But I receive not testimony of man, but these things I say that you might be saved. He was a burning and shining light, and you were willing for a season to rejoice in his light. But I have greater witness than that of John, for the works which Abba have given me to finish, the same works I do bear witness of me, that Abba have sent me. So that's what we begin to understand and see. When we begin to see the works that Yahushua did, we see the witness in the scriptures that bear witness of him. So therefore, that's when we're bringing forth that testimony, because we understand that search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. So then when we see that these things testify of him, we begin to understand that when we see the things that the prophets did, when we see the things that certain men did, when we see Rebecca say, let that reproach fall on me, we see the testimony of Yahusha. When we see Barak coming through, we see the testimony of Yahusha. When we see certain things that David wrote, when we see the things that are contained in the law, when we see the just man falling 7 times, when we see the if you hearken unto me, I'll give my ruach unto you. When we see I stretch forth my hands to a gainsaying people. When we sit back and look, I even hit that verse when he talking about, praise the Lamb, he brought it back to my remembrance. When we look at, he say the nations want to make you to cease from being remembrance, right? Then we remember Isaiah 49, he says, Zion say, you have forgotten me. He said, can a mother forget her suckling child? He said, your name is inscribed on my hands. See, they thought when you were scattered that he would forget you and he would never make you a people. But he said he's son of redeemer, according to what he promised to Abraham by the mouth of all his Kadesh prophets since the world began. And when this man got pierced in his hands, that was for him to remember you, to gather you back together, to make you the sons and daughters of Elohim and dwell in the place of which you departed, of which the nations do not want you to return. Because the nations hope the longer we keep you away from that place, we can exterminate you. We can exterminate you. Because that's what you see the beast was doing, as the serpent was doing, that we read in Revelation 12. They were seeking to exterminate you. Because if we can exterminate you, then we can exterminate the testimony of Yahuwah from off the earth. It ain't about you. Because I gave you the word and told you to proclaim my goodness, my righteousness, my wisdom, my understanding to the nations, that the people could see that you were wise and understanding, and that Elohim was near unto you, the true and living Elohim who created heaven and earth. And if I can extinguish you, then we can sit around here and worship gods that cannot talk, that cannot speak, and who cannot hear, and who cannot save. That's what you sit back and look at. We don't look at it like that because we thinking that it's about us, and it's always about Yahuwah. It's always about him. It's never about you. It's never about you. Ever, 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 ever. You never come first. Ever. Not compared to him. Once you get in your mind, that's the humility, then you'll sit back and look at it and you'll do just what we read in John. I didn't come to do my own will. I came to do the will of Abba who sent me. You'll always seek to esteem him. Nobody say you can't believe because you're seeking honor from each other and not the honor that comes from Elohim only. That's our problem. I don't want honor from a bunch of wicked niggas. That brother nice with the script. I don't need your honor, nigga. I don't need it. What am I going to get from it? I don't need your praise. I don't need your honor. I don't need your esteem. I don't need your flattery. I don't need none of that. I don't need it. I don't need validation from a man. I need validation from my God. That's who I need it from. Of course, we know every person wants validation from the people whom they care about, who they deal with on an intimate level. But when it comes down to serving Elohim, you shouldn't need validation from nobody but your God, period. If you seeking validation from men, 9 times out of 10, you want the praise of men and not the praise of Yahuwah. Because when it comes down to standing for what's right, you're going to go with them wicked niggas to your right. That's what you're going to do. You ain't going to pick Yahuwah. You're going to pick them wicked niggas. I ain't picking no wicked nigga. I'll stand alone and be hated than stand with a group of wicked niggas. To be down, to be at shalom. Screw all of you niggas. I consider you lame. That's what I'm going to tell you. You go against y'all, you wicked, you lame to me. I don't respect it. Your master didn't respect it. The prophets didn't respect it. Your Elohim definitely don't respect it. So why should you? Nevertheless, depart from me. Let's go to Revelation 13. You got to stand for y'all, man. Even if people hate you for it. Screw them. That'll be all right. You ain't here to please men. You here to please y'all. That's what you were made for. You were made for his esteem. Revelation what? 13? Man, go ahead and make it verse 4, man. Praise the Lamb. It's always a good day. It's even better day when it's a Shabbat, because then you get back to sit back and consider the word Elohim. You should be considering the word every day. But on this day, we ain't got nothing to do but to hear his word. See, we sit back and look at this day and think it's just about sleeping. It's about hearing his word. That's all it about. He was refreshed on this day, meaning he was renewed. Resurrection. Recharged. Not literally getting up on the Shabbat, but refreshed to sit back to receive the Ruach. That's what it's about. Praise Yah. And they worshiped the serpent which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who was able to make war with him? There was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. He opened his mouth in blasphemy against Elohim, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in Shamahim. It was given unto him to make war with the Chesed, and to overcome them, and power was given unto him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. So we see this here. The beast and the false prophet, these are two men. They got power to make war with his saints. Remember that Ka said, those who are supported by Elohim. You supported by Elohim because you serve Elohim. You've been converted. You a son or daughter of Elohim. He want to make war with you. He don't want to make war with you because you and the Israelite don't make you no saint. Don't make you a Kadeshim or a Kased. It don't make you that. Would make you one of his sanctified ones. It's sanctify them by thy truth. Thy word is truth. I sanctify myself by the truth, that they might sanctify themselves by the truth, by their might, the firmness, the faithfulness. What you stand on? I myself, I stand upon a rock. I pray all you do. And if you stand upon a rock, that rock being Mashiach, that spiritual rock, upon which the water emitted from in the wilderness. And that water was a spiritual drink. That spiritual drink being the water of life. He told you, come under this and drink freely. Drink freely. What you paying for this without her? Come down to the waters and drink. Refresh yourself in living waters. Say gave you a fountain for sin and uncleanliness to wash you clean. Got no business around here talking about you around here worrying about. I told Will that the other day. Nigga around, I'm a Hebrew. I'd rather be a son of Elohim. I don't want to be no Hebrew. And I don't want to be no Israelite. That's not saying that I'm not a Hebrew. That's not saying that I'm not an Israelite. I want to be a son of Elohim. Call me that. You remember they killed that man for that. You know what I'm saying? They killed that man for that. That's what every one of you should be. You should want to be a son or daughter of Elohim. We know we Hebrews. We know we Israelites. Now it's time to be land. I'm a son or daughter of Elohim at this point. We know we Yahudim. We talk about circumcising the heart. Not that we from the tribe of Judah. We ain't that simple. We don't want to be that simple. Why do you sit here and just look at me? I don't have any Scooby snacks for you, sir. But yet you think that I do. I don't want to play with you. Find you somewhere to sit down at. I don't want to play with you. Go. Depart from me. Where we want to go at next? Oh, yes. Epistle of Jude. So we got to get with the stars. Coming to make war from heaven. We'll take Epistle of Jude, swing to 24. Matthew 24. Come on, man. Your breath stank. Go. And then Revelation 19. Epistle of Jude, verse 7. Get. Dang, nigga. What is that, man? No, Epistle of Jude, verse 14. And Enoch, also the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, behold, Yahuwah come with 10,000 of his Chesed to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they ungodly committed, and all their hard speeches with ungodly sinners have spoken against him. See, it's a lot of people, they sit around, they talk against Yahuwah, And he gonna execute that judgment. That's taking us back to what we seen in Judges, and that's what the writer of Psalms 83 was asking would fall upon the nation: that tempest and that fire, because we know he coming back with fire. He said when that trumpet blow, the sword of Yahuwah, that sword to execute vengeance and wrath upon the nations. Let's take ourselves to Matthew 24. Man, go somewhere. I'm tired of you breathing your breath on my leg. Godly. 24 and what, man? 24 and 26. Wherefore it shall say unto you, wherefore if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chamber, believe it not. For as lightning come out of the east and shine unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For whatsoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from Shamahim, and the powers of Shamahim shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in Shamahim, and there shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of Shamahim with great power, with power and great esteem. And they shall send his Malachim with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of Shamahim to the other. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender, and he put forth his leaves, you know summer is nigh. So likewise, when you shall see all these things, know it is near, even at the doors. Now we didn't read the parts where it was talking about tribulation and persecution, because that's tying you in. That's when you know that it's near. But notice he say when that trumpet blow, that's when he gonna gather. That's when he gonna gather. Now let me hit this one more thing, right? We go to Revelation 19, because he say he gonna make that sword, and then we got to come on back to Jeremiah 33. Get your mouth off of that. Get off of it. You don't eat that, man. You don't eat that. Go. That didn't mean come over here. Revelation 19 and 10. Well, we don't need to read Revelation 19 and 10. Y'all know what it says. He come back with a sword and he gonna judge with righteousness and execute upon the heathen. I mean, you can sit back and say that, but it's really harvest time. And that harvest time would be at the end of summer or the coming of tabernacles in all actuality and truth. But let's take ourselves back to Leviticus 26, because we have to deal with the desolation and then the restoration of Jerusalem. We got an hour and a half. Yeah, do because of that fruit, but we get gathered during tabernacles, and tabernacles is in the 7th month, which is the end of summer, because tabernacles is the beginning of winter, and you know you're gonna be grabbing them fruits to bring them into the harvest at that particular time. So when that fig tree give off her fruit, you know it's in. You know it's time for harvest time. It's time to gather. We only had 3 periods of harvest time. A harvest during Passover, first fruits, and then tabernacles and gathering. Leviticus 26, where did we stop? When 26 and 18. What we're looking at being slain before your enemies. Some people do believe that. It's quite a few people who believe that. If you will not yet for all this hearken unto me, then I will punish you 7 times for your sins. And I will break the pride of your power, and I will make your Shamahim as iron and your earth as brass. And your strength shall be spent in vain, for your land shall not yield her increase, neither shall the trees of the land yield their fruits. If you shall walk contrary unto me and will not hearken unto me, I will bring 7 times more plagues upon you according to your sins. And I will also send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children and destroy your cattle and make you few in number, and your highway shall be desolate. And if you will not be reformed by me by these things, but walk contrary unto me, then I will also walk contrary unto you, and will punish you yet 7 times for your sins. And I will bring a sword upon you that shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. And when you are gathered together within your cities, I will send a pestilence among you, and you shall be delivered into the hand of the enemy. Now he said that your highways would be desolate. Now we're gonna look at this word for desolate. And we're gonna come back and y'all willing, we're gonna deal with the health more, y'all willing, on Shabbat. We're gonna deal with the cure more and all that there. I missed one particular spot with them gathering together. Let me grab that real fast. If you do not go, go. Nehemiah chapter 4. Because he said your highways will be desolate and your enemies will come upon you. Let's come over here to Nehemiah 4. I got to grab Nehemiah 4 one time because it's something in there we got to get. Nehemiah 4. Probably about 4 and 4. No, we go straight to verse. Yeah, 4 and 4 is fine. Hear, O Elohim, we are despised. Turn their reproach upon their own head and give them for a prey in the land of captivity. Cover not their iniquity. Let not their sin be blotted out from before thee, for as they provoked thee to anger before the builders. So we built the wall, and all the wall was joined together unto the half thereof, for the people had a mind to work. So again, as we dealing with that, this is the wall, or the people are one, and the people had a mind to do the work of Elohim. Now they making provoking Yah's anger upon the people who are building the wall or seeking to build the people. Verse 7, but it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites and the Ashdites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up and that the breaches would begin to be stopped, they were very wroth. Now, we just read in Revelation that he said that he was wroth with the remnant of her seed. So when we sit back, right, we see that word for made up is the word that we dealt with on Wednesday. And that's the word for health. And it also means perfected. And that's the arka, the aleph, the rosh, the u, the kaf, and the hay. And that they see the first work of the sacrifice. They're beholding it and they're angry. We see that the serpent was angry with the woman because they had the commandments of Elohim and the testimony of Yahushua, and it's made them angry. And that should take you back to what it said with Yahushua, they hated me without a cause. Because they're beholding that you are performing the work of the sacrifice. That's why we read in Romans 12. Offer yourself as a living sacrifice. This is your reasonable service. In doing so, you prove the perfect and acceptable and perfect will of Elohim. Therefore, people will begin to hate you because all those who live godly in Yahushua HaMashiach shall be persecuted. But blessed are you who are persecuted for my name's sake. When men shall separate you from their company and cast your name as evil falsely for my name's sake, he say, rejoice, for your name is written in Shamahim. For likewise did their fathers unto the prophets. That's what he told you. So when people separate themselves from your company and you've done no evil, when they cast your name as evil and you've done no evil, your name written in heaven. That's what they did to the prophets. That's what they did to Yahushua. That's what they did to him. We don't see that as a blessing because our feelings is hurt. Those who know the script, they know what it is. You know what I'm saying? They know what it is. And they know the power of Elohim rests upon you. You know what that takes us back to? With thorns and briars, he sat down and taught them. Just what we read in Judges. With thorns and briars, he sat down and taught them. Nevertheless, look what else it says, right? And they conspired all of them together to come and to fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it. So again, we see that again, what we read beforehand. I said we missed that there. They were fighting. They conspired. They wanted to conspire against Jerusalem to stop the building of it. Why? Because Jerusalem had been left desolate, like we read on Wednesday and 2 Chronicles 36, because Yah had delivered us over to the hands of the enemy, and now it's desolate. Now the word for desolate is a word of shemim. Shan, mem, and mem. And it's just simply to be desolate. So what ends up happening with that? You're consumed. And therefore, because you're consumed by the blood, and therefore you get paired to chaos. You get joined to chaos or destruction. This is why this place is desolate. Why is blood in this place? Well, we read on Wednesday in Luke 11 that the blood of the prophets was there because you shed them because they came unto you. But let's go to Isaiah chapter 1. Let's look at some of the things. Then we go to Lamentation. Let's look at sit back and see why is this place desolate? What have you done? Isaiah 1 and 14. Make it 1 and 10. Isaiah 1 and 10. Hear the word of Yahuwah, you rulers of Sodom. Give ear unto the Torah of Elohim, you people of Gomorrah. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, saith Yahuwah? I am full of burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fed beasts, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks or of lambs or of he goats. When you come to appear before me, who have required this at your hand to tread my course? Bring no more vain oblations, incense is abomination unto me. The new moons and Shabbats, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Your new moons and your appointed feasts my soul hate. They are trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them. When you spread forth your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. And when you make many prayers, I will not hear you. Your hands are full of blood. Hands are full of sin. Your blood is upon you. So now because your blood is upon you, come to 2 Chronicles chapter 7, he got to pay you the chaos. Go. 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 Ain't nobody playing with you, man. You trying to play. We trying to work. You need to go somewhere. Second Chronicles chapter 7, right? 7 and 15. Make it 7 and 14. Second Chronicles 7 and 14. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from Shamahim and I will forgive their sin and I will heal their land. Now my eyes shall be open and my ears attend unto their prayer that is made in this place. For now I have chosen and sanctified this house that my name may be there forever, and my eyes and my heart shall be there perpetually. And as for thee, if thou wilt walk before me as David thy father walked, and do according to all that I have commanded thee, thou shalt observe my statutes and my judgments. Then will I establish the throne of thy kingdom according as I have a covenant with David thy father, saying, there shall not fail thee a man to be a ruler in Yasharal. But if you turn away and forsake my statutes and my commandments, which I set before you, you shall go and serve other gods and worship them. Then I will pluck them up by the roots out of my land which I have given them in this house which I have sanctified for my name. And I will cast out of my sight and will make it a proverb and a byword among all nations. And this house which is high shall be an astonishment to everyone that passed by it, so that he shall say, why have you done this unto this land and unto this house? And it shall be answered, because they forsook you, who were Elohim of their fathers, which brought them forth out of the land of Mizraim, and laid hold on other gods, and worshipped them, and served them. Therefore he brought all this evil upon them. So now we see again what caused us to be desolate. It's the blood, it was our sin that caused chaos to come. Because now I got to destroy you. And I could spend a lot of time on what we did in this place, and why we had to be scattered and destroyed. But I won't spend a whole bunch of time. But we'll spend a little bit. We'll spend a little bit. Because we're working towards something. We'll spend a little bit. Let's go to Luke chapter 13. Matter of fact, let's not go to Luke 13. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 6 first. We got to spend a little bit of time on it. Because we got to deal with the desolation so before we can get to the restoration. Ezekiel chapter 6 and verse 3. And you and say ye mountains of Yasharal, hear the word of Yahuwah Elohim. Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim to the mountains and to the hills and to the rivers and to the valleys. Behold, I, even I, will bring a sword upon you, and I will destroy your high places. And your altars shall be desolate, and your images shall be broken. And I will cast down your slain men before your idols, and I will lay the dead carcasses of the children of Yasharal before their idols, and I will scatter your bones round about your altars. And all your dwelling places, the city shall be laid waste. The high places shall be desolate, that your altars may be laid waste and made desolate, and your idols may be broken and cease, and your images may be cut down, and your works may be abolished. And the slain shall fall in the midst of you, and you shall know that I am Yahuwah. Yet will I leave a remnant that you may have some that shall escape the sword among the nations, when you shall be scattered through the countries. And they that escape of you shall remember me among the nations, whither they shall be carried captives, because I am broken with their whorish heart, and which have departed from me with their eyes, which go a whoring after their idols. They shall loathe themselves for the evils which they have committed and all their abominations. And they shall know that I am Yahuwah, and that I have not said in vain that I would do this evil unto them. See, because we thought he was playing. See, we didn't think he would ever make Jerusalem, which he said, which is the beauty of all the nations, and bring her to rubble. The whole book of Lamentations of Jeremiah weeping for what happened to Jerusalem. Let's go to Lamentations chapter 5, since I said it. He weeping for it because of what we did this to this city. We made the most beautiful city rubble because we wanted to worship other God. He said, I leave your bodies before these idols. So you'll know that I didn't see. See, we thought y'all was talking. See, that's how some of y'all did your parents, right? That's how some of y'all did your parents. Paul, look here, right? Lamentation 5, verse 8. See, that's how some of y'all did your parents. See, some of y'all thought your people were just talking. Boy, I'm going to whoop you and you don't clean the house. Oh, man, Pop just talking. Man, Mom dude's just talking. Till they bust you in your mouth. Then you think they were wrong. When you were wrong the whole time. You the one wrong. They ain't wrong, you wrong. Listen what he said. Make it verse 7. Make it 6. Make it 5. It's all good. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. Why do you labor and have no rest? We've been reading the whole time. It's your sins, and this is what your enemies wanted. They say, aha, this is the chance we've been looking for. He said, we have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities. Servants have ruled over us. There is none that deliver us out of their hand. We got our bread with the peril of our lives because of the sword of the wilderness. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. They ravished the women in Zion and the maids in the cities of Yehuda. Princes are hanged up by their hand. The faces of elders were not honored. They took the young men to grind, and the children fell under wood. It's a lot of stuff we could go into on that there, man. Y'all willing, we'll come back. The elders have ceased from the gate, young men from their music. The joy of their heart has ceased. Our dances turn in the morning. The crown is fallen from our head. Woe unto us that we have sinned. For this our heart is faint. For these things our eyes are dim. Because of the mountains of Zion, which is desolate, the foxes walk upon it. What does he mean? The fox is walking on the land because it's desolate. Let's look and see. Now we can go to Luke 13. Foxes walk on the land because it's desolate because we done sinned. Let's look. We'll sit back and look at the foxes walking on the land. Who is these foxes walking on the land? You know, a fox, old slick little animal. He like to steal. He like to be a little slick, put a little moves. You know, people say he sly as a fox, slick as a fox. He don't be no fox. That's just like being a snake. 13 and 31. After Luke 13 and 31, Luke 21. We coming close to our time, but I'm going to go a little over. Just a little bit. Ain't nothing but Shabbat. That nigga eating on that bone, boy. Greedy bastard Jew. The same day there came a certain of the Pharisees, saying unto him, Get thee out, depart hence, from Herod will kill thee. And he said unto him, Go ye and tell that fox, Behold, I cast out devils and do cures today and tomorrow, and the third day I shall be perfected. Now, why do we read that? Some people say, oh, he word matching. He called him a fox. But he just told you that servants rule over us, and Zion and desolate, and foxes walk on it, or sinners walk on it. These Gentiles walking on it, because Herod was ruling at that particular time. He said, "You go and tell it." See, we know the script. He giving him a little cue. You go tell that fox this right here, because that's who walking on the land, is it? Let's go look at Lamentations 5 again. Let's look at it again and pay attention to what's being stated. Because he told him to go, he said, Herod gonna kill you. He say servants ruled over us. He said the mountains of Zion is desolate. The foxes walk upon it. Remember, you look at Mount, you looking at the government or the rulership. It's brought to nothing. Foxes now walk upon this mountain. Foxes now rule over us, because he already told you in verse 8 that servants rule over us. Nobody can save us out of their hand. And another place in the script is telling we ain't got no safety in our streets because of the enemy. They tell my Herod gonna kill you. You walking around here preaching that gospel. You around here telling the people them they gonna kill you. That's, you know, that sound like I told y'all before. They gonna have you on the terrorist watch list. You hoe nigga you. You coward bastard Jew. Go sit down and piss, nigga. Go buy you some Always or some Tampax. Ain't no real man of Elohim talking about they on no terrorist watch list. Ain't no real man of Elohim care about no terrorist watch list. He just came and told him Herod gonna kill you, cuz. He said, you go tell that fox this right here. I do cures today, and tomorrow and the third day I shall be perfected. Nevertheless, I must walk today and tomorrow the day following, for it cannot be that a prophet perish out of Jerusalem, or Jerusalem, which kill the prophets and stone them that are sent unto thee. How often would I gather thy children together, as a hen doth gather her brood under her wings, and ye would not? Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. Truly I say unto you, you shall not see me until the time come when you shall say, Baruch is he that come in the name of Yahuwah. Now he did told you, Jerusalem, your house left desolate. See that chaos from that blood, that chaos from that sin you got going on? I got to get you from up out of here. It's got to consume you now. It's got to consume you now. You got to be consumed by it now. Because he wasn't speaking in vain what he said he was going to do. He said, boy, you got to go. He said, a remnant going to escape. You nigga got to go. Luke 21. You nigga got to go. That man wasn't playing. We didn't even read the parts. He said, once I get you from up out of here, he said, that land will rest then. Matter of fact, we'll get it right now. Leviticus 26. He said, that land will rest then. It'll rest then. Get your sinning behind up out of here. It'll rest then. It finally gets some rest once I get your wicked butt from up off of there. That's hard right there, man. That'd make you change your whole life. It ought to anyway. Leviticus 26. Verse 31. Make it 30. That ought to make you change your life. But that word ought to make you change your life. But that word don't make you change your life. I don't know what to tell you. That word should make you change your whole perspective. Once you change your whole perspective, the things you used to delight in, you shouldn't have delighted in no more. The people you used to delight in, you shouldn't delight in no more. The qualities that you looked in for a friend, the qualities you look in for a spouse, they should change. They should change, because your mind ought to have been renewed. And you ought to desire and to seek after the things and attributes that be a Elohim. And one thing you definitely ain't going to be, you ain't going to be no hypocrite and no faker and no liar. You're going to be thorough like your Elohim is. You're going to be 100. You're going to be solid. You're going to be consistent. You're going to be disciplined. You're going to be upright and righteous. Faithful. Leviticus 26 and 30. And I will destroy your high places and cut down your images and cut your carcasses upon the carcasses of your idols. And my soul shall abhor you. And I will make your cities waste and bring your lands unto desolation. I will not smell the savor of your sweet odors. And I will bring the land into desolation, and your enemies which dwell therein shall be astonished at it. And I will scatter you among the heathen, will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste. Then shall the land enjoy her Shabbat, as long as it lay desolate, and ye be in your enemy's land. Even then shall the land rest and enjoy her Shabbat. While you gone, the land resting. While you gone, the land can enjoy her rest. That's hard. The land, even though them people over there doing what it is they doing, the land is rejoicing. The land is at rest. It's enjoying this Shabbat. Long as you gone. As long as it lay desolate, it shall rest, because it did not rest in your Shabbats when you dwelt upon it. And upon them that are left alive of you, will I send faintness into their hearts in the land of their enemies, and the sound of a shaken leaf shall chase them, and they shall flee as fleeing from a sword, and they shall fall when none pursue. That man said, the sound of a shaking leaf will make you flee. But you know how hard and rough that is to hear, man. That's hard to hear. This how angry this man is, that he was willing to take the land which is above all lands, a land of which his eyes is continually upon, the place where he placed his name at and sanctified for his esteem, that I'll destroy it just to get you from up off of there. I'll make it desolate just to get you from up off of there. That's supposed to humble you, to understand, not to glory in your flesh, but to know that your Elohim is just, his judgments are true and righteous, and that all men everywhere ought to repent and to give esteem unto the great name of Yahuwah of hosts, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, and serve at the altar of grace, mercy, and forgiveness, and never turn back to their evil and wicked ways, as long as he allow his Ruach to be in your lungs. Straight up. That's what it ought to do. But you know what we take with it and do? See, we the Israelites. See, look at the curses. That's retarded. That's retarded. That's supposed to make a man say, I need to change my life today. Not esteem in my flesh. I need to change my life today. Because if this is the penalty of which he laid upon my forefathers for disobedience, what is the penalty that he'll lay upon me? And in his goodness and mercy, he's showing me the error of my way, that I am worthy of death. But yet he sent forth his son, and while I was in my blood, he said, live ye, live. We don't look at it that way, though. Luke chapter 21. Luke 21 and 20. While you was in your sins, he told you to live. He said, while we were yet without strength, Hamashiach died for the ungodly. We ain't have no strength, because his strength was made perfect in weakness. So he was made weak so we could be strong. We don't look at it that way. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Yehuda flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein too. For these days be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written might be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon his people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the time of the Gentiles shall be fulfilled. So, of course, we know at the end, that beast and that false prophet gonna build a house in Jerusalem and trotting it down. Now, of course, we get it out your mouth. Go. You don't bite on that. What's wrong with you? If I had a belt, I'd hit you with it. So, because we just were having this discussion the other day. Get your mouth off of that. You steady gonna do it, Joe. No good. So, the nations, go. The nations are going to trot down Jerusalem. And they're going to stay there until it's fulfilled. When the iniquity, like it said in Genesis 15, the iniquity of the Amorites have not been full. So, when the iniquity of the Gentiles is full, of the nations or of the Goy, when they full, Yahushua going to come. Because now it's time to bring forth that sword. That's what we seen with the two sets of men and judges. They received their judgment. Let's read the judgment that's going to come on those two men at the end, because we didn't read their judgment. Revelation 19. Let's read their judgment. I know y'all know their judgment. I just want to read it. Revelation 19 and 20. Go. Go. I said go. Hard-headed little boy. Big rusty nigga. Always eating on stuff. That's why you always got to stay outside. That's why you stay outside right there, because of that. You just won't learn. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet, and that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worship his image. Those both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. And the remnant was slain with the sword that sat upon the horse, and which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. So remember, we read about that trumpet blow, sword, slayed all the armies, take the two particular rulers, and slayed them. It's kind of reverse you see in Revelation. The beast and false prophet, those two rulers, again, they got a different punishment or a direct dealing with Gideon himself versus them getting slain by the armies. Again, because that takes us back to the stars coming after Sisera. But we see Jael take Sisera out herself. You can read in Daniel where it said that that man who had the ability to have understand dark sentences, that he would be taken out with the princes of princes without hand, because he gonna slay him with the sword of his mouth and take him and cast him alive into a lake burning with fire and sulfur, brimstone. Because they want the Jerusalem is trodden down, because the only way these people could trod Jerusalem down is because it was desolate. Because now they saying it's desolate, it can never be rebuilt. That's why I mentioned this part of Nehemiah. They were mad because he was being rebuilt, because they thought once you were put out, you weren't never coming back. So they could trodden it down, because they sit back and look at it again. The Shememo, they got the Shan, the Mem, and the Mem. So they sitting back looking at it's the blood and it's the chaos, and you consumed. I got to consume you because of the chaos or the sin and the blood from that sin. I got to consume you for this, because this is what my law dictates. So therefore, I have to consume my land and make it desolate. Then once that happens, the Gentiles are coming through, and guess what they doing? They bringing forth more chaos and more blood. So he got to consume them, and he got to get them off. There's plenty of places in the book where say, I got to consume you off the land. I got to get you off of it. That's why he say, when you see me again, till this place be laid desolate. When you see me again, you're going to say, Baruch be he that cometh in the name of Yahuwah. With that being said, segue, Jeremiah 33. Because y'all willing, on the morrow, we dealing with the restoration. So now we going to start segueing, moving ourselves toward the restoration, because we talked about the desolation and the things that were going to get us there and what had to happen in the war. But y'all willing, tomorrow we're going to deal with is the aftermath of the war, the aftermath of all of that. But we got to deal with the first part, with the rough part first. Because I remember somebody tell me, you don't never this, that, and the third. I say, man, look here. I love to talk to you about the things you're going to get in the kingdom every day, all day. But truth be told, all you niggas ain't going to get it. Everybody not going to receive that. See, people only want to hear, build me up. Build me up. Yeah, you supposed to build people up. You also supposed to tell them the truth. See, people use that build up as a cop-out to not let me know when I need to do better, not to hold me accountable. Because being held accountable is a part of being built up. People want to be enabled. They don't want to be built up. They want to be enabled. See, that enabling builds false confidence. It builds a false self-esteem and a false sense of self-worth, because it's built up on the strengthening of your wickedness. This is why he tells you in the book of Ezekiel. This is why he tells you in the book of Jeremiah that these people sit back and you promise the evil shalom, and ain't no shalom for them. And you don't tell them to turn back from their evil ways. You gloss over it and you look past it. You know it's wrong, but you don't care. 99.9% of the time, because there's a benefit that you're gleaming from it. See, when you don't care about if you not going, see, most people want to say nothing to, like if a dude really like a woman, he ain't going to correct her. He don't want to say nothing to her that she don't like, because he feel like if he do, she ain't going to give him no butt. I can't get no sex if I tell her, if I correct her. If I say something to her she don't agree with. They not going to do it. You know, once a man been done had sex with a woman he don't care, then he might begin to do that. Or unless he wants to continue to have sex with this woman, then he won't do that. When people are deriving some type of benefit, if it's somebody's buying you stuff or giving you money or taking you places, this, that, then, the third, you may not say to them the things that they doing are wrong, because you want to continue deriving what you getting from this person. See, when we begin to tell people, you know that ain't right, you know you ain't got no business doing that, they tend to do what? Get mad with you. Then you may not can be able to derive any benefit from them. And this is why people enable people. Some people want the benefit of somebody inflating their ego and self-worth, so they'll never correct them because I don't want to lose that validation that this person gives me if I tell them you're wrong. Some people just want to be liked. Some people just want to be accepted. So they will enable people. They will enable them. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. It ain't worth it. 33, right? Verse 6. Y'all willing, I said we'll be dealing with pretty much to about verse 15, maybe 17 in this. So that's all that we covering in here in Jeremiah 33. Us getting restored. Because verse 11 is very, very important. Behold, I will bring it health and cure, and I will cure them, and I will reveal unto them the abundance of shalom and truth. We talked about that briefly on Wednesday. And I will cause the captivity of Yehuda and the captivity of Yasharah to return, and I will build them as at the first. So when we look at build, we see that it is Banah, the Bat, the Noon, and the Hay. So what will he do? He will reveal the Son of Life. That's how he will build you. So I just want to keep you in mind, because we're going to revisit health and cure. I'm setting this stuff in your mind now. If you want to, and I'll remind you about health. We just mentioned health. You're going to behold the first works of the sacrifice. When you look at cure or the marpeh, you see that the word commanded of the first blood is going to be strength for you. And then in another one, when it mentioned cure again, you got the Rapha, and that's the first. The words of the first are going to give you strength. So this is where you begin to be restored. This is how you end up getting restored. This is how Jerusalem is going to get restored, because the son of Elohim had to restore it. And therefore you can be able to dwell in there because you've been restored. And that's why we read the part about the thorns and the briars and teaching them about that. And that's going to give you strength. And now you will esteem in your Elohim because his power will rest upon you. And that's how you get your health. That's how you get your cure. That's how you will be built. When you're going to be built again, pause. John chapter 2, right? You don't got to get it, but you can get it for yourself. John 2 about verse 16, about verse 20. For yourself, so you can read for yourself. Yahushua say, destroy this temple and I'll build it up again in 3 days. He destroyed that temple, and Yahushua was built again in 3 days. He revealed everlasting life in his son when he showed him to his apostles at his resurrection. As Peter and Paul both stated, how he appeared unto many chosen men of a foretime after his resurrection. So when you're built, when he says he will build you, he's going to, and it taking us back to every one of them resembled a child of a king, a son or daughter of a king. He wants to reveal, to take it back when Paul said, when he revealed his son in me, he wants to, as I mentioned to you before, it's in Galatians chapter 4, about verse 6, he wants to put the ruach of his son in your heart so you can say, Abba. That's what he wants to do. So for him to build you, he had to reveal Yahusha to you, or open your eyes, which were closed, so you can see. So that you can, as we could sit back and look at before, you can receive that testimony and have eternal life. Verse 8, and I will cleanse them from all their iniquity whereby they have sinned against me, and I will pardon all their iniquities whereby they have sinned, whereby they have transgressed against me. So, of course, again, the health, the cure, the being built is what gets those sins forgiven, because we know that Yahushua was sent forth to be the propitiation for our sins. So, and it shall be to me a name of joy and praise and honor before all the nations of the earth, which shall hear of the good that I do unto them. They shall fear and tremble for all the goodness and for all the prosperity that I procure unto it. Thus saith Yahuwah, again there shall be heard in this place which ye shall say shall be desolate, without man and without beast, in the cities of Yehuda and the streets of Jerusalem that are desolate, and without man and without inhabitant and without beast, the voice of joy, the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, the voice of the bride, the voice of them that shall say, Hallelujah of hosts. For Yahuwah is good, for his mercy endureth forever. And of them that shall bring the sacrifice of praise into the house of Yahuwah. For I will cause to return the captivity of the land as at the first, saith Yahuwah. Now I want y'all to remember this, and I say this every time, almost every time that this verse is read. Jeremiah is getting a vision. He very well may have heard voices. I hope to Yah that that was our voices that he heard, that we were present for that particular thing of which he's speaking. Let's go to Revelation chapter 7. Because he said in the place that is desolate, they said that they won't, that the place that's desolate, say you won't hear that anymore. Not the voice of Yahushua, not the voice of Yasharal, not the voice of people praising Yah, not the voice of joy. That word for joy is sason. We have two shins, a u and a noon. And it's the sacrifice that consumes, that will pair you to eternal life. Because what is consumed? The body of sin, because he offered himself as a living sacrifice. Now, the body, and I'm just going into more detail on it, but most of y'all should know that. When you have, that's why one of the fruits of the Ruach is joy. So when we look at one of the fruits of the Ruach is joy, why is it joy? Because you offered yourself and you consumed the body of sin, and because you consumed it, it paired you to eternal life. You couldn't be, you ain't, see, dudes thinking joy, and don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people think joy is just singing and clapping and dancing and this, that, there, and the third. But when we look at it in the spiritual aspect of what the characters are showing us, because the character is showing us we got that shin, so we see something's being consumed. Then we turn around and then we see it again, and we see that what was consumed is now being paired. And now we see what is it being paired to a sacrifice. And then we see it's being paired to the sacrifice of a seed, of an offspring, of the son of Elohim, of eternal life. So now we can really see why you have that voice of joy. Because you know your sins have been forgiven and you've been cleansed and you've been restored. And now you are back to how he said he made man upright, but man sought out many inventions. Get from under him. See there? See what you're doing? Go somewhere and sit down. Go. You're doing too much. If you wanted to hear the word, you should have sat still and just heard it. Come in here and do all that extra stuff you got going on, man. Good grief. So that's what we look at when we look at joy. You're pairing yourself to that sacrifice. Don't look at me like that, nigga. Bet your eye. Go. Bet your eye. Who you think you is? You ain't grown yet, cuz. You can still get whooped. Revelation chapter 7. You know you're wrong, too. That's why you looking like that. If I pet dogs, I'd pet you right now and let you know it'd be okay. But I don't. So I won't. 7 and 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and peoples and tongues, and stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our Elohim, which sit upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. All the Malachim stood round about the throne, and about the elders and four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces, and worshipped Elohim, saying, Amen, Baruch, and esteem, and wisdom, and thanksgiving, and honor, and power might be unto our Elohim forever and ever. Think about that. That's a vision he's seen. You need to see yourself with that white robe on. You need to see yourself with that palm in your hand. You need to hear yourself speaking those words. Because if you can visualize yourself doing that, then Yah willing, by the mercy and grace of Yahushua, you will put forth the work to make sure that your calling and your election is sure, that you know for certain you'll have that white robe on, that you know for certain you'll have that palm in your hand, that you know for certain you'll be speaking them words. Because he saw people doing it, and he very well could have seen you. He very well could have heard you. Gotta be serious about that. You gotta really look at it. That's how me personally, that's how I've always looked at those two particular passages, Jeremiah 33 and 11, and this Revelation 7, what we just read. You need to see that. I know it's hard to see, literally, But you got to picture that and say, that's me because that's where I have to be. Not where I want to be, where I have to be. I must be there. That's what Paul told. He said, I must needs go to Jerusalem for this feast. You must needs go to Jerusalem for the marriage supper of the Lamb. I must make this feast. There's not a doubt or question in my mind. I must push through and trek and move and do whatever I need to do to get to this feast. We'll stop right there because I don't want to add the extra stuff with the restoration. Hallelujah for Yahushua, because we going to, y'all willing, say the rest for tomorrow. But I wanted y'all to be able to understand the persecution. You really, you all right, man. Just go. I really wanted y'all to hear the why Jerusalem was desolate, what caused it to be desolate. We may revisit briefly how the nations want to stop it from being rebuilt. That's why we threw the Nehemiah out there, the Nehemiah 4, because that had to come in. We see how the nations gathered together. We had to put that out there for that to come in, uh, and stuff like that, you know. And also, that wasn't planned, but for you to see what it mean, why they want to make your name cease from remembrance. They want to kill you. They want to wipe out the sons and daughters of Elohim. They don't want you to be a nation before you. They don't want you to repent and be renewed. They don't want that to happen. They don't want you to become sons and daughters of Elohim. They want to conspire against your master to kill him. Like I said, we could have went a whole bunch of ways, but we want to stay on focus of what we're looking at. Then you sit back and look at the wrath of Elohim is no joke. We see that it's true. We see that it happened. It should cause men everywhere to turn from their ways. But I'll leave you with this. He said they slayed everyone that resembled the children of a king. Do you resemble a son or daughter of a king? Do you resemble that? And if you don't, what are you going to do to resemble that? Go, man. There you go. That's all you wanted. Go. What are you going to do to resemble that? How hard are you going to work? And are you willing to make the sacrifice? But I bless everybody out the house of y'all in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Appreciate everybody. Love everybody. You who are willing, we will be at Regency on tomorrow. We will continue. You know that we going to start very, very promptly because we have more questions and things to deal with when we're completed. But Yahuwah Baruch, goodbye, good evening, shalom, arrivederci, I bid you adieu, aloha, Vida Zane, and all that other stuff in any other language anybody can come up with.